I think we're just about to start our next keynote, Ms. Sara Akbar. Her topic today is skills for the future. We're very honored to have her here, as I was just talking about her. She is almost a legend in Kuwait, and everybody knows about her. Of course, she's going to talk about her topic today, but let me also introduce you formally to her. As I say, she is almost a legend in Kuwait. Ms. Sara Akbar has over 40 years of experience in the oil and gas industry with a unique insight into the Middle Eastern region, wide-ranging international experience, and significant operational and project management capabilities. Ms. Sara is currently the chairperson and CEO of OilServe Kuwait and the chairman of the board of Oil Tech Iraq, an indigenous oil field services company operating in Iraq. Furthermore, Ms. Sara Akbar serves as a non-executive director of Petrofac since January 2018. In addition to her roles in the oil and gas industry, Ms. Sara was also a member of the Kuwait Supreme Council for Planning and Development and also an active member of the Board of Trustees of Kuwait's Silk Territory Project. Ms. Sara Akbar worked closely with the Kuwaiti Cabinet of Ministers to set the roadmap for Kuwait's strategy and the execution of its 2035 vision. Furthermore, Ms. Sara has been the chairperson of advisory board to the American University of Kuwait College of Business and Economics, CBE, since 2016. And in the past, she has also served as the director on various Kuwaiti companies and industry societies, including the Society of Petroleum Engineers, Kuwait Society of Engineers, Kuwait Gulf Oil Company, and the Kuwait Drilling Company. Ms. Sara held various senior positions at both government and private oil and gas entities. She started her career in 1981 working for Kuwait Oil Company and then at Kuwait Foreign Petroleum Exploration Company, KUFPEC, where her roles included the head of the planning unit and the manager of new business development. In 2005, Ms. Sara co-founded Kuwait Energy, the first MENA-based private independent oil and gas exploration and production company. Up until December 2017, she has served as the Chief Executive Officer and Deputy Chairman. Ms. Sara has received many acclaims for her key role in Kuwait's wild well killers. This is what I was talking about just a few minutes ago. Firefighting team, which was responsible for extinguishing Kuwait's oil well fires post-Iraqi invasion in 1991. The heroic act earned Ms. Sara the designation of the firefighter and a Global 500 award presented by the United Nations Environmental Program. She was also awarded the prestigious Leader in Energy Award at the Women in Leadership Awards and Forum in 2009, recognizing her as the first and only woman leader in the oil and gas industry in the Middle East. In 2013, she received the AIME Charles F. Rand Memorial Gold Medal. Ms. Sara was named among the top 100 most powerful Arab businesswomen of 2017 by Forbes Middle East. In 2018 September, she received the Hall of Fame Award, recognizing her as the pioneer in oil and gas industry. Ms. Sara received her Bachelor's of Science in Chemical Engineering from Kuwait University and has amassed throughout the years of wealth of knowledge and experience in leadership, strategic planning and development, portfolio management, and strategic relations worldwide. Please welcome Ms. Sara Akbar with a big round of applause. It's an honor, Ms. Sara, to have you here. Use a mic because the camera can follow you. You can walk around and the camera will follow you. Have you set it? Yeah, so just set it to
Well, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Such a pleasure to be here, and I would like to congratulate you because this is a weekend and you are spending your weekend trying to learning and to develop the profession, the most important profession on the planet, education. So it's a great pleasure for me to be here and to try to share some of the experiences, some of my own learnings coming through Sometimes when I tell people, look, I've been 42 years in the industry, so 42 years, that's a whole lifetime. Yes, it's a whole lifetime, but I have been working in the oil and gas business since 1981. And I've gone through so many cycles in the oil and gas. So I can, share some of the learnings, and didn't stop at oil and gas. I have been, like Rana kindly indicated, I am on the advisory board of AUK. I've been there for like 6 years now. And currently I'm helping Abdullah Salim New University to, set their curriculum and to create what we call the fourth generation type of university. Because as we will see from my topic, conventional education is really not going to work. So what is different? What is different? What is different is that the current generation of students that we have in our classrooms are new species of human. They are completely different than we are. Why? Because from very early, tender age, these people are directly interacting with machine more than they interact with people. At their fingertips, they have all sorts of knowledge they can access in no time. They have very short attention span because the way they learn now is through TikTok. TikTok is like less than maybe 2 or 3 seconds or minutes. So to try to educate these people and teach them conventionally will not work. All what they will end up with is a paper, a certificate that says this guy graduated from XYZ. What about the skills that these students actually need in order to develop the future that we want to see? And the future today is completely different than anything we lived through and know. That's why for this new species of humans, we have to create different learning tools. We have to use different techniques, even in teaching and learning. And we need to equip them with very special skills that can actually develop and create that kind of future. What I would like to start with is, the first thing is, I want to start from 2050. I would want you all to come to me with me. Of course, I don't know if I will survive until 2050. There is no way, but let's see, maybe with technology, we can live until 2050. So let's go to 2050. I come out of my house. I want to go to my office. And what I do, I just hop into my own drone, private drone. Why? Because as all of you know, the roads in Kuwait are horrible. We have been suffering from roads like hell. We have huge congestion on the roads. We cannot drive, it takes so much time. What a waste of time. So we really had to innovate, come out of this for a small country like Kuwait. And you have to create your own type of drone that can fly you to work in like 5-6 minutes, then can bring you back. And probably you can, tie it down and put it like a small thing into your office, take it out, go into your drone, go wherever you want. Why I'm saying this? Because I'm kind of 100% sure that this future is coming, and it has to be developed with students of today. And why it is important for Kuwait? Because as all of you know, Kuwait is an oil and gas country. We have plenty of oil. We don't have much gas, I must admit. We have lots of oil. And if we look at the biggest challenges that we are facing at this point in time, it's about oil and gas polluting the environment because we are actually burning oil and gas in order to get electricity. But I am happy to tell you, we have found a solution for that. Environmental challenges that the whole world is facing today that is leading to catastrophes everywhere. You know, all these floods that you see everywhere, the climate change. This is our planet. We haven't yet discovered another planet. So every one of us have to work very hard to make this planet livable and to continue. We need sustainability on this planet. And if we continue to burn oil and gas, we will not have a sustainable planet, because by 2050, this planet will be super hot. No one can live here. That's why it is important for us to stop burning oil and gas and to go into renewables. So renewables, now again, I go back to 2050, my drone is actually powered by electricity. And this electricity actually comes from hydrogen. Hydrogen is the fuel of the future. When you burn hydrogen, as all of you know, you get water. Water is good for the environment. So we need to develop a whole suite of technology in order to make hydrogen the viable future technology. Now, so my drone, again, I go back to my drone, is created, manufactured using hydrocarbons, because I cannot use a lot of metal. There isn't enough metal on the planet to create all these drones. So I have to use hydrocarbons, which is light, which can actually create my drone. So, and I'm powering it with hydrogen and with renewable. So basically, my drone not only solves the bad road problem that I have, it solves a bigger problem for the planet. So it's a complete win-win solution for all. So what does it take for me to educate and to teach students in the classroom today techniques that will help them develop that drone that I will use in 2050? This is the question we have to pose to all educators. Because like I said, I mean, we can teach them conventionally, whatever they do, and they will end up with PhDs. I'm not talking even about bachelors, PhD. They can hang it on their wall, but believe me, it's so useless. We really need to equip them with skills that can allow them to identify technologies, put them together, develop new technologies as a second stage, and create new products that can save the world. And not only create products, it's easy to develop products. You know, in the world today, if out of each 100 products that you develop, only 5 can make it into the market. Why? Because the secret here is not just to develop products. You need commercial products. You want products that people can use and can pay for. So cost and production operation and the operating cost, commercialization techniques, financing are a very important piece of the knowledge that we need to give to these students in order for them to develop this drone. So why did I use this example for the kind of skill sets that we need to get? Because I talk about creativity and innovation. And people think about creativity and innovation as, oh, we need to create a new, a new technology, something. No, it's not about that. It's about utilizing whatever technology we have, putting them together, integrating them, and then thinking what other technologies we need and developing those new technologies. So it's a combination of what we have plus what is new, but on top of that, skill sets to develop and commercialize. So these are the kind of skills that we need to give the students in order for us, all of us, survive the next 20, 30 years. Now, this is basically making students curious all the time, making students want to learn, continuous learning all the time. They need the ability that we have to give them the ability to change their profession every 4 or 5 years, because this world is just unfolding and changing so rapidly with everything. And we just cannot cope. We really cannot cope. We are not built to operate out of our comfort zone. But this learning is super important. And as educators, this is the main thing that we have to focus on and try our best to bring, to give to these students. So the typical way of educating classroom, giving speeches and giving lectures, and I think we really need to change this little bit by creating groups that work on projects, by giving them financial, commercial abilities, by actually creating live projects more than actual lectures and actual curriculum. So the curricula has to change. The way we do these curricula has to change in order for us to be able to give the kind of skill sets that we talk about. So the first skill set I talked about is continuous learning, curiosity, innovation. And like I said, my definition of innovation is not to create something new. No, we need to utilize what we have and then add on top of that. So this is the first skill, but what else? So I noticed Hussein here is a student at the college. And since he was a kid, grew up, he's so attached to his PlayStation more than his family. He's on his PlayStation, I think probably 10 hours, 12 hours per day, something like this. So this generation actually knows how to deal with machine more than how to deal with humans. And so the human interaction ability and skill is way down. And this actually has serious implication to the world, because when you are confined in your room, talking to machine, living in this metaverse all the time, it creates a different type of human. One of my friends, a Kuwaiti friend, she has a 9-year-old boy who goes to one of the best schools in Kuwait. He came to his mom, said, "Mom, I don't want to go to school anymore. This school is not teaching me anything." She was shocked. "What do you mean?" Said, "No, I'm not learning anything at school. I learn from the computer with my friends more than what I learn." Why? Because this guy lives in his own metaverse with his friends. One is in India, one is in Brazil. I don't know. It's all, so they are, living all over the place. And the type of discussion. So he said to his mom, which is, for a 9-year-old to come up with this type of question, he said, "Mom, if you live in the metaverse, you will live forever because you never die. If this if through AI, this avatar of yours can stay there forever and can live forever, while you as human can die, but your avatar can stay forever." And for a 9-year-old to think about these type of philosophical questions, God bless you guys. I wonder what you are going to be teaching these type of people. So he said to his mom, "Look, I don't want to go to this school, but there is another school. If you allow me to go to this school, I will immediately go." And he searched the net, he found a school in India that has a special type of training, education. It's a different school created by one of these guys who suffered through his own education, and he created a different ecosystem, a complete ecosystem. So he said, "If I go to the school, I'm willing to go." And she said, "This is in India. We cannot do this." Anyhow, at the end of the day, they agreed that the basic learning, and in the school, he will go to do his basic learning, and she will give him because she realized immediately that he's really not living here. He's living in some kind of universe that she really doesn't know. And she agreed with him. He has a YouTube channel now, and he actually posts in his YouTube channel. And she allowed him to do so in order for him. So this was a deal between him and his mom that, "Look, I am willing to go to school, but you allow me to do this." And this is the kind of generation that you will be facing. And even what is worse than this for you educators, especially at college level, is when you guys ask about assignments. So I want to read something to you. One of my friends sent this to me, and this student actually is a student at one of the universities here. And yeah. So the assignment they had was, how can you make Kuwait economically progress? This was the question that the students had to answer in a 400 word kind of article. And this guy came up with an article, 400 words, which said, oh, number one, diversification of the economy, invest in education, encourage entrepreneurship, improve infrastructure, transportation, energy, communication, attract investments, promote transparency, and encourage domestic saving. And so it's a complete whole article. And, guess what? He wrote this in OpenAI, and he got the answer, these specific answers to the question in an article in like 5 seconds. And that's what he submitted to his teacher. Now, there is no way on the planet the teacher will actually know if he wrote it or he got it from ChatGPT. Now, ChatGPT will actually transform the world of education specifically. And I was telling the ladies here, it will actually declare educators redundant, probably, if we don't utilize it in a proper manner, if we don't actually focus on it and use it to our advantage as educators, it can take the job of an educator. I mean, I'm not talking about secrets here. There is this report from the World Bank, which was published like 2 years ago, that said, with the pace of work and development that we are going through now, 40% of the current jobs that we know will be redundant. Accounting, legal, even doctors. So that's why I am saying, because AI, because of data analytics, because of this type of humans that we have now, the world is different, and then we all have to work together in trying different schemes for education. So we should not be developing students to get certificates that will allow them to become government civil servants. That will not work. Every government in the world now should be shrinking rather than expanding. What should be developing are those entrepreneurs, that innovators, that go out of the college with their jobs created by them for them. And it needs a complete different multidisciplinary approach into education. And especially integrating business with engineering, with medical, with legal, with all. So revising the curriculum in this manner is very important. And this is what I was talking about, the style of the 4th generation university, because in these universities, you actually create startups, all kinds of startups in the university before students can graduate. And this way, you actually equip them with various skills, being commercial, being business, being finance, being technical, so that they can survive this new world that we are going to see coming up towards us. My next skill set is actually about communication. And communication, I realized, I'm sure you noticed, I don't like to read from a script because I never good at reading, right? I'm not good at reading from a script. I like to speak because that way I can actually get my message through in a better way. In the history, when I started at KOC, I remember going through the training, they would actually ask us to do a presentation because presentation skills and ability to to get your message through is a very important skill. And I noticed if people are not actually practicing this a lot, they are really not good at it. I noticed that even when I was a student, some teachers are so well positioned to pass the knowledge in a very seamless, easy manner. Some make life miserable. Some of them make life miserable, and you just don't want to go to those classes, right? And it is not about the knowledge, it's about the communication skill and the ability to communicate your thoughts. Now, when I did go to college, no one taught me any class about communication, zero classes about communication or presentation skills or any kind of soft skill. This is history, guys. This cannot continue. We really need to make it a very essential part of the curriculum because look, we cannot be teaching knowledge anymore. Knowledge is there all over. These young men and women are so well connected to every type of knowledge that you can imagine. What they lack is these soft skills. So we have to really dig down and understand how can we give them those soft skills. And on top of this list is actually communication skills. Why? Because through their continuous learning with a machine, sitting in their room, they completely lose it. They don't know how to talk to each other, how they know to communicate to each other. I'll just give you one funny example. I was in Baghdad. I came through road this morning. And in Baghdad, I have two young men that I mentor and I develop. So one of them is married, well established. The other one is not. I asked, why are you not married? Why haven't you decided to get married? He says, Sara, I feel very shy. I don't know how to talk to women. This was like a few months ago. I don't know how to talk to women. So that's why, I am very reserved. I said, but you talk business in a very good sense. You think of them as guys sitting in front of you and you are just talking about business and life, just like guys. Don't think of them as women. Next day in the morning, I go to the cafeteria, in the hotel, and he was sitting there talking to two women. And he was talking and I was, I said, my God, this guy. And, in the evening, we couldn't even find him. So I said, where did he go? Oh, he got to know one girl and, he went, oh. So this is what I'm saying. There are techniques for people to break through and to learn and to communicate. My whole message here is, please, 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 let's give these students lots of communication skills, presentation skills, talking skills, because they will make a huge difference in their future, in the career. And then probably they can create my drone for the future and they can communicate and talk about it and create successful business. Now, these are basically the three kind of skills that I wanted to share with you in this speech, because I like to think about the future and I like to think about a completely different future than what we have now, but we have to create it together. And the cornerstone here is education. It is education, and it is the role that you, educators, have to take on board. So this is all what I wanted to share. I'll be happy to answer any kind of question that you have at this point. Thank you very much.
Okay, so if you have some questions. Yeah, sure. You want to
Oh, thank you.
Thank you for your lecture. you think in a view of this bureaucracy which we have, can we move fast in changing the education? You think is it?
Yes. Thank you very much. Okay, let me share this thing with you. So I wonder if you guys know about Vision 2035 for Kuwait. We do have a vision. It is not very well publicized, unfortunately, okay? So this vision says simply that Kuwait survived 400 years as a very small country up in the north of the Gulf for a reason. You know, thinking about it, if you were somebody in this part of the world 400 years ago, why would you even come and live in Kuwait? This country is a pure desert, very harsh environment, no water. There is no water. There is nothing green here. So why would you come and stay here and create this country here? And you protect this country as an identity for 400 years. And you create an economy and you become entrepreneurs. This is the secret of Kuwait, because Kuwaitis actually created this economy and survived it for 100 years. And, you know, if we look around us, all the countries that surround us came way later, right? But we were sustainable. We had small government that operated everything. Every kind of job was done by the private sector. Nothing was actually operated by government except for a couple few things. One of them is foreign relations, interior, Ministry of Interior kind of thing, and justice. Everything else was done by the private sector, and the private sector used to pay taxes to the government, and through those taxes, the government would operate. Now, this model is the model of all the Western world today. All the developed countries operate in this model. Since we had oil, early 1946, when we started exporting oil and we started to get the revenue, that's when we changed. That's the time we became a country basically solely, you know, living off the oil, and it spoiled that beautiful economy. And we all know that if we continue to do what we are doing today, we will not have the same sustainable future if we do not diversify and change the model. So 3 years ago, basically in 2019, with the Supreme Planning Council, we created a team, a steering committee, to think how can we change this country back into what we were. And simply saying this is Vision 2035. The basis for Vision 2025 is we really need to stop, the government needs to stop doing all the work. You know, today the government is the policymaker, they are the monitor, they are the executor, they are everything. So you really need to separate the operating role from the policy role and create a whole suite of private company sector that can pay taxes in order for this. So we brought a top world-class consultant and we developed a strategy to get over all this bureaucracy. Unfortunately, that study is still not being implemented. And we are trying very hard to make the government adapt it and implement it. So is it easy to move from the current system where the government is the sole employer, almost sole employer? You know, this year, I think they recruited, 2022, they recruited 25,000 people. This year, you will have something like 40,000 new entrants into the job market. There isn't 40,000 jobs in the government. We ought to be kidding ourselves if we think currently the government employs 420,000 people. We actually basically need something like 100,000 to run Kuwait. We don't need 400,000. So Going forward, this is not sustainable. And as long as the oil price is above $87, we can live. The minute it goes below, we can't survive. So there is no two ways about it, that this system we have has to transform and change in order for things to be sustainable. Now, I will give you one simple example of that kind of thinking, that oasis that can be created, even in Kuwait with all this bureaucracy, is in this new university. Now, if you look at the law of this new university, Abdullah Saleh University, they have given them a very high latitude for maneuver and movement in order for them to be able to operate and get out of the bureaucracy. So there are few things here, especially with education, that you can do in order to get out of the bureaucracy. And we have to try very hard. I know it is difficult, but we cannot stop. Status quo is not an option, and not doing anything is not an option. And to say, yes, it is tough and we cannot do it is not an option. So we all have to put our hands together and try to change this into whatever, and it will work. Thank you. Yeah.
Okay, Mr. Hassan, Muhammad Hassan.
Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam.
Pretty impressive and extempore, and I really liked the way you delve deeper into how future is going to be altered or shaped. And I guess as an educator, the future is already here. When you talked about ChatGPT and those kind of algorithm-based integration of technology, all in one. And every government all over the world has to diversify its economy, can't depend on the past and traditional modes of either productivity in the sense of educators or learners, or we need to embed transfers of skills in our, and as an educator, what I look at it, that we won't be made redundant in the sense that we won't be there. We may be overshadowed. Our roles may be redefined, change. We'll be altering our interventions. We also, as educators, teachers, have to equip ourselves first to equip our learners in the right sense.
Correct.
And we have to give leverage to, instead of seeing as a barrier, and that's what was presented today. Technology and applications are all algorithm based. No more, it's not a barrier. In fact, it's induces, it's complements, it's a strength, it's an arsenal in the hands of we educators. And we can very well cater to the dire needs of today and tomorrow, and challenges can be met by like fourth generation of university or inclusion of interdisciplinary learning skills and curriculum based. So I really second you in toto, and you have touched the chord. And I really appreciate the way you came up with the things. And it's not Kuwait alone, it's all over the world. We need to keep the changes changing with the fast pace of technological intervention and all that. Thank you so much.
Pleasure. Thank you.
Any other questions?
Yeah.
The audience?
Yes,
Or maybe
please.
from the virtual audience?
There is one here.
Oh, okay.
Thank you so much for this, Sara. Thanks a lot. And now, since long, we have heard about lots of things are creating a threat to teaching positions. And throughout, since technology started until now, every single period of time, we have got this threat appearing again and again. You just talk about, and the colleague there online talk about this ChatGPT. And we've been talking about artificial intelligence for quite a while. And then before that, we have been talking about robots and other things as part of IA as well. So to what extent do you think that the teaching profession is really replaceable? And what are things that can be replaceable and what are the things that cannot really be replaceable? Thank you so much.
Thank you, dear. I would actually challenge you to ask your own students how much they are learning in this class versus how much they are learning on their own outside on things that attract them, that they really like. Because yes, you give them the curriculum and you test them and they will pass, but what stick there, what is kept there is what matters. Now, let me take you back to 1981, 1980s, early 80s. So in the early 80s, that's when I joined the industry in the beginning, okay? And at that time, we had massive computers. And we used to punch cards in order to create our programs. And every single knowledge that I learned in that period was from articles in magazines. I go to conferences, I collect all these articles and I read them and I educate myself, right? So in the early 80s, 3 things happened that created the world of today. And I took you back to the 80s because the factor of time, okay? 3 things happened. One night we woke up, there was internet. My God, what is this? Internet? What is internet? Right? Internet will connect the world, will change the way we deal with each other. It will remove all paperless organizations, right? So internet. Oh, we were very curious how to learn about internet. Now, the second thing that happened, one day, small personal computers came about that actually replaced those big mainframes that we were dealing with. And you know what? We were lucky. Our generation were lucky. Why? Because we lived through the evolution. And you know, the first computer I bought, I formatted myself. I put all the programs, 286, I think I remember the thing. I used to put the programs myself. I used to run them. It was so fascinating. This was not part of my petroleum engineering learning. I just joined KOC and I was doing work. But this support, huge support. I mean, this is the kind of thing I was talking about education. I was never taught about this in university, but it was the curiosity to know. So I bought my own personal computer because, as you imagine, KOC as a big organization, they will never adopt something in the making. They will come after it is developed. So I said, 83, I bought my own personal computer. I started preparing the reports for my job, at home on my own personal computer. There was a program called Intergraph and, another program, Excel and all, where we can create those beautiful charts. I print them in color. My boss was super impressed with my work. He took me to the chairman to show, look, there is technology and, we can get graphics and charts and whatever. And then mobiles came about. So this whole world shrunk by those 3 technologies. Internet, PC, and mobile. Now I have my mobile. It's my whole world. It is my whole world. Every morning when I get up, the first thing I do, I go through my emails, my WhatsApps, and I respond 10, 15 minutes. It's a must. I get lost when I don't have my mobile. I truly get lost. So if I go back to 1981 or 82 and think about this kind of world, would I actually imagine it? I could not even imagine this type of world, right? So you have to give it time. But I am 100% sure that if we don't evolve as educators and recreate ourselves, recreate our techniques, we will be redundant, every single one of us. So that's why it's just time, factor of time. In my own business now, in our own industry, we really have to regenerate ourselves. Why? Because we are oil and gas. We are the bad guys. We are the ones who are polluting the environment. We have problem now attracting talent into our business because we are not good enough, right? So think about it. Most of the oil and gas companies are transforming into energy companies, are embracing carbon footprint, are embracing hydrogen. We have to regenerate our purpose in life. We have to regenerate the way we do business. And what business? If we don't, we are extinct like the dinosaurs. And this is how you guys have to think about your own professions. Right? Thank you. Yeah? Any other questions? Thank you.
There are 3 more people who have entered. Maybe let's check if they have any questions. There are people trying. Yeah, no, the people trying to enter also. Yeah. So I think, any questions? Let me check the chat box if there is anything for you. Mind blowing. Let me read out the comments. People are happy with you, Ms. Sara. They say you're literally great, Ms. Sara. Such a wonderful conference. Well done. Mind blowing indeed. Thank you. Please talk. Oh, okay. This is, thank you, Ms. Sara. A lot of people are commenting. Thank you very much.
My pleasure.
Thank you so much. And now almost